In mentioning the pre's, I'm kind of curious. Have you been writing stuff during the lockdown?
Yeah, I have been. I just a lot of it's been on the piano. Actually, the first couple of months I did a lot of work because I had the pre set up here in my living room. Um, more recently, just in the last 3 weeks, I've had my wonderful friend Belinda move in with me. So we've turned the living room back into a living room and not a studio. So I all the synthesizers are in storage until July 1st when I move into another studio, and then I'll be able to bring that back up.
Cool.
But I was making a lot of music for the first couple of months, and I had just, out of the mixer, I had a line out, an RCA out and right into a tape deck, and I just would record everything I did on cassette. So I've got all these cassettes I got to go through and pick out the best stuff and kind of mix that together and put a little mixtape together, which is going to be exciting. But now I'm just writing on the piano, and then what I'm recording on the piano, I'll transfer to the synthesizers and create a moment for the synthesizers once I get my studio set back up.
Oh, awesome. Do you have a track or a portion of a track that you feel like you might want
I got little tidbits. Let me see if I can get something going here with the pre's. I've got lots of stuff. But,
couple minute snippet of something that's.
yeah, let's see what we got. If I just play it on iTunes, will it come through to you?
I'm pretty sure it will.
Let's see. Do
I
you,
hear some synthes in this.
do you hear some somethings?
There it is. Yep.
Yeah, that's the
Turn it up,
jazz.
man.
Yeah, it's all very soundtracky, analog synthy stuff.
Like the happy sequel to Blade Runner.
Exactly. Totally, total Vangelis kind of stuff. Let me see. I mean, these things go on forever. Let me play a little something else.
Well, I love the,
What's that?
I love the development of that.
Okay, I'll let it go. We get the drums coming in. All these things are very slow to develop. Here's some hi-hats.
Awesome. Things that can be taken.
Yeah, totally.
What's it called?
Huh?
What's it called?
This one, this is called, hold on. Let's do it again. This is called Hold On.
This older one?
This is one that was done just last year, so not old.
Cool. Hold on. Great.
Roads.
Thanks, buddy.
You got some little choirs in there.
Gorgeous. One part about electronic music that I really like, and I feel like people that don't necessarily get electronic music don't appreciate that, where it's like, yeah, it's simple, but it's kind of supposed to be, and that it's more about this, roiling, like that kind of develop a little bit. And you can write an 8-minute song out of one part. That's
Yeah.
interesting and cool, and that's pretty awesome.
We get some chord changes coming in.
Cool.
I'm gonna
Nice, man. That's great.
I'm gonna fade it out, but it goes into chord changes. The
Yeah, I
whole
heard that. That's
the
pretty.
whole idea with the priest, thank you, is really like I want to with the priest. I want to make music that people listen to when they're like reading or driving or creating other things like painting. I want it to be part of people's like experience and not the experience
Yeah,
directly. It's sort of just like an attempt to provide a soundtrack for people for
sure.
their lives.
That's wonderful, and I love that description of it. It's funny too. I'm probably giving myself away a little bit here, but in the beginning of my musical creativity, not even really when I was in a band per se, um, but I remember in the '90s, for whatever reason, I was kind of like just kind of developing my creative sense. I used to listen to the Orb,
Oh, love them.
and there's that music reminds me a lot of the Prees and vice versa. But it was really interesting because I would very often, like I used to smoke a lot of pot back then, but I would listen to the Orb and smoke a little bit and then just kind of not even realize that I sort of drifted away.
Yeah,
I would be listening to whatever soundscape was going on in the background of the Orb, and then come up with my own rhythmic or melodic ideas. And then before I knew it, I had this kind of symphony going on in my head that had
yeah,
nothing to do with what I had been listening to before. And at this point, like if you were to listen to those two things side by side, you'd never know that this kind of led me over to
yeah,
that. And
yeah,
I did that on I think on several occasions where I came up with stuff that I had written that eventually became some of my original music.
yeah,
Came from ideas where I just sort of zoned out listening to the Orb or Can or the
yeah.
Verve or Spiritualized or anything like that, where it just kind of like faded into this kind of almost like a blanket of sound.
Yeah, that's it's I've always been drawn to that kind of like that atmosphere and that ambient space. And a lot of my favorite bands are like that. The Orb, Future Sound of London, stuff like that. That's just really like
Yeah.
like Tycho, Boards of Canada, just bands that really kind of just create a vibe and a feeling. And because that's the other thing is I did say that it's something that I want people to you know use as a soundtrack for other things, but it's also at the same level, you put on some headphones and maybe take a bong hit, and you're just kind of sailing around the universe. And that way you're actually interacting directly with the prees. But it's it's I don't know, it's the place I like to be personally musically. So obviously I'm making music in my headphones and in my studio with that. And it's just where it's the kind of sound bath that I like to bathe in. So it's what I'm making. And I hope other people enjoy it too.
Well, yeah, I love that track and all the other stuff that I've heard of that was really great. So, yeah, I
Cool.
dig what you're doing, man. Uh, well, before we head out, we've had a lot of time to kind of sit around our houses and not do what we had normally done before, which in some ways is kind of a bummer, but in other ways, has been, as we kind of mentioned, I was telling my friend, our friend Davey, about this, in that I'm waiting for this massive renaissance of creativity. Like because of COVID, because of the strife in the world. I mean, with Trump and the political nature of what's been going on, not just in our country, but in the world in general, I feel like there's gonna be this wellspring of creativity. And of course, like everything, it's not all gonna be great, but just the fact that people have had this time
Yeah.
to do things, I think it's just really neat. I've got like a friend of mine that's been like knitting all these crazy cool things. Another person I know wrote a screenplay. I know, like just they're coming up with these ideas. So my hope is that by like, 2021, 2022, or even now, we're going to start to see the effects that are positive from all of this.
We absolutely will, man. I mean, because everybody's, and you know what? It's almost like not so much what do you do with your time. I guess you create stuff. It's really for most people, especially in a city that is expensive as San Francisco. It's I don't have time to do that stuff, and now you do, and it's like you're like okay, like now I can actually quiet all the running around trying to make ends meet, and and all the different, even just socially and all that, and just kind of take a look inside, and then boom, you're creating, and it's beautiful. I mean, I've written a bunch of songs and taught myself the ukulele, a little bit, and just it's I think this time is really good for people, and I think a lot of musicians and artists, even very well established ones, are using this time to write and to create, and I think we're going to hear a lot of amazing albums coming out in the next couple of years because of it. And
Yeah, the other good thing too is, I mean, the fact that this happened in 2020 as opposed to like 1990 when not everybody had a studio in their house,
right.
or you didn't have a computer in which they could do a lot of the things or teach themselves how to do that. I mean, I've taken some online classes of my own, like production stuff, just signing up for things that pop into my mailbox because I bought this plugin. And I was like, oh yeah, I do want to know about Eddie Kramer, and how he gets the drum production he got from all those old classic rock records or
Totally.
whatever it was. I did one with Psych Magic, which was super super fun.
Nice.
Tom's a buddy of mine, but it was great to be able to do that. And I'm hoping that more and more people will look at Blue Bear and go, yeah, I got all this time I'm sitting around, like got that guitar from my uncle, all those years ago, just sitting in my garage or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
pick it up and learn how to play.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
And
hoping we get a lot more of that kind of stuff.
I think we're doing a good job adjusting to this online world too. And I know that a lot of my classes and some of my lessons through Blue Bear are, I'm feeling like we're not spinning our wheels. I'm feeling like we're getting something accomplished, and learning is happening.
Yeah. Well, and two, we're also learning at teaching. We're getting better at doing this online when we have a totally different scenario to deal with.
Right.
Uh, I've seen that a lot. I mean, there are limitations, of course, but you know, just like everything, you adapt and try to figure out how to do it.